Hey guys, Heath here. I'm glad that you've tuned in. We're going to be starting our new podcast shortly, but before we do that, I want to ask you to do something. We've designed a sign-up form for you, where if you sign up, we will send you a free copy of the book, The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller. Matter of fact, some of the things we're going to talk about today came out of that book, and also there's another book you may want to check out called 7 Secrets to an Awesome Marriage. Wonderful book. We have used some of that material as well. We want to give them a shout out, and so you go check that out. So just fill out that form. You'll get a free resource from us. And hey, if you are listening to this, you're not watching it, you're on Hipcast or iTunes or wherever you get your podcast, just go to YouTube or our Facebook page, and you'll find the link where you can sign up to get your free copy of The Meaning of Marriage. And don't forget, if you like this, like, subscribe, share, and give us a good review. Thumbs up. So let's get into our podcast. Hey, everybody, we're glad that you're here with us today for another Pinnacle podcast. We're starting a series on marriage today. Marriage. We're calling it For Better or For Worse. And I've got for the first one, we've got Shonda here with us. For those of you that don't know, Shonda is my wife. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Heath. I'm the lead pastor here at Pinnacle. And we've been asked to talk about 7 secrets to successful marriage.
Say it fast.
7 secrets to a successful marriage.
Oh, that was impressive.
Yeah, can you do it? You do it.
What is it?
7 secrets to successful marriage.
7 secrets to successful marriage.
Yeah, pretty good. Got to work on it. Anyways, Shonda does a lot of marital counseling at our church. She has over the last 14 years we've been around. And so we wanted her to be in on this conversation. And we know a little bit about marriage. We hit 28 years this past weekend. 28. She's put up with me for a long time. People say, you don't look like you've been married 28. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah. We were babies. We were babies. But we're going to go through these 7. The first one's this: kill unreal expectations in your marriage. Just kill them. Don't have unreal expectations. What do we mean by unreal expectations?
Well, I think that's an important conversation that all couples need to have. You need to sit down and say, what are your expectations for each other? And then sit and talk about what's the reality of that.
Yeah.
Your life is not a rom-com. You know, it's not going to be these movies I enjoy watching, you know. And so he's not going to bring home flowers every day or run you bubble baths or just magically pick up around the house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you had expectations that I was going to cook 3 meals a day for you.
Yeah, I thought you'd be grandmama, but you weren't.
No.
And I think men and women bring expectations into marriages that are just impossible for a spouse to attain to, and you've got to come to a middle ground. And the key is, it's all about, I heard Andy Stanley preach on this one time, and he said it's all about, me putting the other first. Yeah. And I think and the other person putting the other person first. And that's so true in marriage. We need to do that. Guys, we bring expectations. We think, our wife's always going to have the dress on and have full makeup and have sex every night, and that's just not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen every night.
Not every night. It's not, especially as you get older. Anyways, so but you got to kill unreal expectations. And one thing I want to say on that is, I think many times what happens, men and women, we try to receive from our spouse what only we can be given from Jesus. Mm-hmm. We try to find our identity, our purpose. We try to, in the relationship, we want out of the relationship what only God and Jesus can give us, and you just cannot put that on another person. Your spouse is your spouse. They're there. You are together. You're a team. You work together. Marriage is a gift from God. It is beautiful. It is wonderful. But with that said, you do not try to receive from your spouse what only Jesus can give you.
That's right.
And we see that a lot of times. That's a problem. And hey, I want to say this real quickly. I know some of you guys watching out there, you're not yet Christians. Maybe you're not yet convinced on the things that we believe, but there are still things we're going to say in this today that will help you. Of course, we're going to use God language because that's what we believe, and we will couch it in those terms, but there are still things that you can use in your marriage. And so while I say don't try to receive from your spouse what only Jesus can give, and we believe that's the truth, you can still understand that don't put unreal expectations on your spouse. So number 2 is we say put God first, spouse second, kids third.
Yeah. Well, it's important God's first. I mean, he's first in our life. He should be the center of our relationships. That's where we receive everything from, living by his words and his standards. He has it all laid out for us if we just apply it to our lives.
Yeah, use God's wisdom, put Him first in a relationship. I think a lot of times, though, we see from a lot of experience we've had with people, helping people, that people will invariably, a lot of times, they will put the kids first.
Oh, yeah.
Then God, then the spouse.
I was guilty of that early on in our marriage. I had actually made our daughter, Erica, an idol in my life. My life revolved around her. It was everything for her. And so, it took me a while to realize that, and took us some hardships in our marriage to realize that I had put her first above God, above everybody. I'd made her an idol.
Yeah. And the problem with that is if you put your kids above your spouse, eventually those kids are going to grow up. You're going to be an empty nester. We're empty nesters. And if you've not took the time to invest in, grow your marriage, know each other,
spend that time with one another.
Where are you then? You're left to look at this person going, I don't know you. You're a stranger. The one thing we had in common was this kid, and now the kid is doing their own thing. Where are we at?
Yeah.
And that is a cause of a lot of marital trouble later in life. Yeah. And so if you're just starting out, you're a young married couple, we want to tell you, maybe you don't even have kids yet. You've got to make sure you're putting your spouse as a priority.
Yeah.
And God above that, of course.
Have those date nights. Make sure you're spending that time together.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Number 3, be present.
Yes. Put your cell phones down. Bottom line.
I'm guilty.
Yeah. I mean, it's so much. If you're away at work, whatever your occupation may be, and if you're at home, you have those moments throughout the day. But when it comes down to the evening, where it can be family time and time between you and your spouse, put the phones down. You have it over there. If it's an emergency, someone will call. But other than that, you don't need to see how your neighbor's doing on Facebook. You don't need to be checking the gram all the time. You need to be present in one another's lives.
Yeah, I think it's so true. We have to live in this technological world, and we have to be connected to it, but there are times to disengage from it. And because studies have shown that technology is great, but that it really does hamper our relationships and stuff. And, with that said, you want to be present and you want to listen, and it's so important. So that's good. 4, fight right. Healthy couples know how to fight. Yeah. It kills me when we'll talk with couples and they're like, I've never gotten a fight. I'm like, are you really married? Are you really married?
Well, I think it's part of any relationship you have. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be tension. There's going to be things that come up. And you need to learn how to communicate that appropriately. You don't need to, some people are runners. So as soon as it gets heated, they'll take off and head off to the bedroom or head out to the garage, and nothing's ever really resolved. And so it just just becomes layers and layers of hurt because we don't know how to communicate and talk through that in a healthy way. And so it's important to sit and talk and know that there's disagreements, know that there's frustrations, but to sit and talk it through so we don't allow those things to build up and become bigger and bigger issues, those frustrations.
Communication's key, isn't it?
It is the key.
And there's going to be some different resources and things that will be linked into this podcast that you can go to, books and such, that will help you to go a little further than we can go in this short podcast.
And I just want to add one more thing. When we say fight fair, and that's also the one thing when we're hurt, oh man, we want to hurt back. Yeah. We want to retaliate. So we're going to say things to our spouse that are hurtful and below the belt punches on that. And we just need to be very careful with our words. So it's important. Don't let it get to the point where it's just all comes out at once. Knock it down when it's those little things. If there's something you do, like you always leave a cabinet door open, and that can be very frustrating, and be like, hey, is there a reason why you always want to leave a cabinet door open?
Or leave my Starburst wrappers in the candy bar.
Listen, hold on. Side note. Do you have a spouse that will have an empty container of like a snack box or a cereal box, and then they go and they put it back in the cabinet? So you think, oh, I want a cracker, and you go get it, and there's nothing in it? That's what he does. And candy wrappers, like I have a candy bowl, and he'll unwrap it and put the wrappers back in the bowl.
Well, it's just
So
convenient.
frustrating.
It's convenient.
So
It's
that's
there.
things that we have to talk about and we have to communicate. Like, why do you feel the need to do this?
Because I'll empty the bowl when it's all just little pieces of trash.
Is that it?
Yeah, it's efficiency.
Okay.
It's an efficiency thing. So we got five. Number 5, we have schedule time with each other.
Schedule date nights. Schedule sexy time. Schedule those you have to, going back to being in the moment and being present, you have to make time for those. I'm telling, life is crazy. Life is just so busy. We are always on the go, and especially for those that have kids at home and in sports and school, and now we're all have been homeschooling. There's just not enough time in the day to get everything done that we need to get done. So it sounds unromantic to be able to schedule like sexy time, but it's
Or date night.
or date nights, but it's important to do that. I often tell my couples when, that make sure that at least once a month you're getting a date night. When you've got kids, it's a lot harder. But make sure you're having those times together. And then when you're having those, what I refer to as sexy time, I said when you schedule that and that we say, okay, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesdays and Thursdays are our nights together, then you can use those days for the anticipation and the flirting. That's when you can send that text message and like, can't wait for tonight.
Yeah.
Winky wink.
Winky wink.
Yeah.
Emojis.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of that, sex, we say number 6 is sex is not just physical, it's emotional. Can you talk about that? Because it's guys, especially this is for guys because we're so physical. We've got to understand it's also the mingling of souls. And what do we mean by that? It's
that it is the most intimate time between a husband and wife. It is that time that you are the most vulnerable, you're the most intimate with one another. And so it is for fact that men are very physical. Women are very emotional about it. So we need a little bit more. We need to talk and we need the touching and we need those things.
Wooed.
We do need to be wooed. So those are the important. And so when the guys are just like, hey, thank you, see you later, we're like, no, we need to cuddle. We need those things. And so it's a very intimate time, and that's where once again we talk about those expectations. All of that rolls into that.
Gotcha. And number 7.
Already, number 7.
We're about done. Number 7, teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Dreamwork. Team, baby. Talk about that. I mean, we would think that is common sense, but it really isn't, is it?
And like I said, life is crazy with families. And so it's no longer just like the woman's responsibility to keep the house together or the man's responsibility to do this.
Yeah, it ain't the 50s.
No, it's not. It's a time where we have to say, hey, I've got to, run my kid over here. Can you throw a load of laundry in? Hey, I've got this going on. Can you help me here? I mean, that's the way it's got to be. There's really no set roles. You just got to do work it together to make your house work.
Yeah, I think the big thing is you communicate each other. You figure out together who's going to do what, and then you help each other and you roll.
Yeah.
And teamwork with raising the kids, teamwork with life, making financial decisions. The list goes on and on. You're a team. You're a unit. You're together, and you got to do this together. There's no lone rangers in a marriage relationship.
No, it takes both of you.
Takes both.
Through all of it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Do you have any parting shots, parting words that you'd like to say before we sign off with this?
As always, when I tell people, I wish I had learned some of these concepts earlier on in our relationship. As I was thinking this morning on the way over here to film this, I wish I had put some of these practices in earlier, because my biggest regret is I wish I could have loved you better sooner.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. I love you.
I love you.
Yeah. Well, likewise, we grew together. We've learned together.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you tuning in with us, giving us some of your very valuable time. We hope this has been helpful content. And here's the thing. If you will subscribe and sign up, there's going to be a link in with this podcast, we will send you a free resource. We're going to send you a book, The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller. Very good book.
Great book.
Very great book. Very helpful. And we want to send that to you just as our gift to you for being willing to subscribe and sign up. Next week, we'll be back here again, and we'll be doing another topic on marriage, and we hope to see you there.
Bye.
See you guys.